Hello everyone, my name is Jaybird and what the fuck, there's like a little hair on my microphone. Actually, there's a few. What the fuck? Gross. Anyway guys, welcome back to fucking AIRIS. Yeah, let's just fucking, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Get in there, now! One of the soldiers give me a hard shove, and I almost lose my balance, stumbling into the prison cell. I hear a grunt and the sound of someone falling next to me, and I assume Kylan wasn't lucky enough to regain his balance in time. Fuck. I keep forgetting the characters' voices. I think he's British, yeah? Sorry, warrior. Just precautions until His Majesty is ready to talk to you. I hope you understand. I have to bite my tongue to keep myself from throwing a particularly colorful string of curses at him. I can hear General Alaric whispering some instructions to the guards outside of our cell before there are footsteps growing fainter and fainter as the general presumably leaves the prison. Silence falls over us, and even though I can hear Kylan's unsteady breathing and rustling of his clothes, he doesn't speak, probably too guilty about dragging me into this mess too. Or busy contemplating ways to escape, considering his brilliant mind. I don't know what the fuck happened to my voice, but it did that. I don't know. Oh god. I'm dying. I'm dying! Ah! Shifting closer to him, I lower my voice into a whisper. So, what now? Any ideas on how to escape? Can you charm the guards into releasing us or something? I'm flattered that you believe I have the ability to charm the guards into letting us go. Well, there must be a way for us to escape. Escape? No, it's impossible. You and I both know how heavily guarded the royal prison is, and the two of us can't fight against so many. I'm doomed, but you still have a chance to make it out of here alive. Just tell the king the truth when he asks you about me. I squint at him in the darkness, surprised at his encouragement for me to betray him. Why? Do you want to be executed or something? I'm dead either way. No point for you to follow me into the grave. Save yourself, at least. I deserve this anyway. I did commit the crimes, and I did cause the deaths of many innocent villagers. Kylan sighs, the sound full of regret and self-hatred. Ah, familiar sound. For lots of people. Including me sometimes. You can't die yet. You need to come up with a cure to the plague. I'll plead with King Leo to give you a lesser sentence. Don't. They'll deem you as conspiring with me and sentence you to execution as well. I've got enough blood on my hands. I don't want yours on mine as well. There's an unfamiliar, defeated tone in Kylan's voice that scares me. Pulling my legs to my chest, I rest my face against my knees. Feeling frustrated, tears begin to sting at the corner of my eyes. I don't want him to die. I don't know why, but I don't. Because you love him! There must be something I can do. Is there nothing I can do? Is Kylan really going to die just like that? Without meaning to, the memories I've shared with Kylan begin flashing across my mind. All the cheerful laughs when we were adventuring or in dungeons together, the solemn quiet moments when the conversation topic delves into something deeper and more personal, and the horrifying revelations. My mouth opens of its own accord, and the question I've wanted to ask for a long time finally falls from my lips into the darkness of the cell. Why do you care about me? Why did you take care of me? Why did you save my life? Why did you confess to me all your secrets and dark deeds? And why do you care if I die in here along with you? I can feel Kylan stiffen next to me, and I expect him to brush my question off, but he answers in a quiet voice. I just care about you. You are just a such a good person, you know? You're so kind and cheerful, even though I know how suspicious I seem. You still trust me and care about me. I never really had anyone care about me, like genuinely care about me, other than my brother. My parents died when we were still very young, and the orphanage, well, let's just say ours are no better than yours here in AIRIS. You do so much good for your country, to protect the weak and the people you love, and I admire that. I wish I could be that, but I can't. All the things I do, that I tell myself I must go through with so that I can go home and protect my little brother, are really just selfish actions disguised to be selfless sacrifices that hurt countless people. You're everything I'm not, and you deserve better than this fate. Kylan's declaration hangs in the air between us, and for a long moment, I'm unable to speak, strangely choked up after his speech. I'm not the kind of good, selfless hero that you think I am. You know the guild only recruits those who have lost everything and everyone, right? Have you ever wondered how I lost my family and my home? I don't know. I assumed it was my fault. The creatures destroyed your village, perhaps. Lord knows how many villages I've caused to be decimated. For once, this wasn't your fault. It was mine. It wasn't the creatures that attacked my village, but bandits. Of course, we were prepared for the possibility of bandits. It wasn't uncommon in that area in the south, and there were sightings of dying campfires in the forest indicating their presence. Everyone in my village except the elderly were trained in combat to prepare for the day. Back then, I was still known as the tiny, scrawny baker's daughter who couldn't even bake bread right, the one nobody had any expectations for. So imagine everyone's surprise when I quickly became one of the best fighters in the village. It was like I was born to hold a sword, not a baking pan. The bandits were clever, though. They never came until the day after harvest, when everyone was too busy and drunk celebrating the good harvest. We scrambled to defend ourselves, but what chance did we have when all the adults were clumsy with their weapons, either drunk or too exhausted after a long week of work? Thanks to my parents shoving me into our hidden pantry in the bakery just in time, I was the only one who managed to escape the bandits' capture. Everyone else was tied up in the center of the village while the bandit leader was taunting them, trying to decide who to kill first. I snuck to the roof of a house. I had a bow in my hand. I had the perfect shot to sink an arrow in the back of the leader's neck, to give my village a fighting chance. I knew I could do it. I've done it 1,000 times in practice. It was like I was transported back in time, back in place, back to the small village where I was born and grew up, running over the green hills barefoot and picking flowers to bring home to my mother. I can feel the bow in my shaking hands. I feel the fear and adrenaline running through my veins as I try to line up the arrow for the shot. And right when I was pulling back the arrow, I saw my parents' bodies, their warm blood spilling onto the ground. And you know what I did? I froze and I ran. I froze and I ran. I couldn't do it. I couldn't let my arrow fly. I was scared, so scared that I would fail to hit my mark or get caught and be slaughtered just like my parents. And I ran, and when I came to my senses and turned back, it was too late. The bandits had The memory in my mind is still so vivid after all these years that I can almost feel the heat of the fire against my skin and smell the burning flesh again. Gasping for breath, I have to pause for a moment to recollect myself. You don't have to tell me anymore. I can tell it's a painful memory for you. I've gone this far. I might as well finish telling my story, but I don't know if I can handle any more of this. Continue, that's enough. I have to say that's enough. I'm sad now. I wanted to go into detail about the scent of their burning bodies. I'm morbid. I love it, though. I love being morbid. That's enough. I can't. My entire body is trembling, and I have long lost the fight against my tears that have spilled over and are now streaming down my cheeks. No. I can't talk about this anymore or else I'll fall apart, and that's not going to help us get out of here alive. So I stay silent, burying my face in my hands. Kylan's hand rests gently on my shoulder to comfort me, and I soak in the warmth, grateful for his gesture. It wasn't your fault. You were just a child, Alia. It was normal to be scared. I was 13. I was far from just an ignorant child. And I ran and let everyone in my village die. I was the most deplorable person, and I should never have lived. I should have died like the rest of them. Your parents wanted you to live, or else they wouldn't have hidden you. They knew it was a lost battle the moment they chose to hide you instead of giving you your sword. You couldn't have turned the tides of war yourself, even if you chose to release that arrow instead of running. Your parents wanted you to live, and you did just that. It's nothing to be ashamed of, and I'm certain your parents would never have blamed you for your choice that day. Nobody would. As much as I want to believe Kylan's soothing words, I can't. The scars won't heal just because of a few pretty words and comforting murmurs. No, it doesn't matter. I just wanted to let you know that I'm not the hero you think I am, and that we need to find a way to get you out of here. I don't mind dying, but you still have an important task to do. You have to cure the plague, and you have to get home to your brother. I may have nothing left to lose, but you do. No, Alia, you should... No. Less talking, more thinking. You're the smart one out of the two of us. Start thinking of a way to escape. I scrambled to my feet, looking around the cell for something. Anything that can help us make it out of here alive. Alia, wait. I have something to tell you. I was going to tell you earlier, remember? When we were heading to my house to find my brother's letter. Does it matter right now? Whatever it is, it can't be more important than escaping first. It matters because I don't know if you'll want to help me escape after hearing this. My earlier wariness returning, I sit down at the opposite side of the cell, facing him. Even in the darkness, I can make out his nervous expression and shifty eyes. What is it? Tell me now. I wish I could show you my brother's letter to prove that I'm not lying, but I don't have a choice, I suppose. I need to let you know something that my people are doing with the game of AIRIS. What? You know how the game functions by having the player possess the bodies of the vessels and temporarily override the consciousness of the person? My stomach churns in anxiety. I have a feeling I won't like what Kylan is about to say. Go on. It turns out that my government never intended to merely learn the secrets of magic and explore the world of AIRIS using the bodies of the vessels. Apparently all along they were intending to find a way to have the player's consciousness permanently replace the vessels, to basically take over the body for real. As though sensing my disbelief, Kylan hurries on. I knew that they have long been experimenting on how to transport a person's consciousness to another body, to achieve immortality in a way, because slower growth and a longer lifespan is still not enough. It was the exact same method they promised to use to bring me back home. I just don't think they were planning to use it this way to send our people to AIRIS and colonize it. I know it's hard for you to believe, which is why I wanted to show you my brother's letter. He was the one who discovered that what the government is planning and wrote to me to warn me about it. I swear I didn't know about this until a few weeks ago. I swear I've been trying to stop them, and so you're telling me that at any time all of us in the guild can be possessed, but this time it will be permanent and our consciousness will just die? Yes. There's a nervous lilt to his voice that makes his answer sound more like a question, and the panic slowly sets in, causing me to jump to my feet again. So, at any moment, my body can be possessed by some creepy stranger from a different world forever? Are you kidding me, Kylan? Please say you're joking. I'm not joking, but if it helps, it won't happen to you. I don't know what exactly caused the spells on you to fade, but ever since you managed to prevent your player from logging in that day, when you fainted in the armor shop, your account has been closed. From what I hear, they deem your connection too risky to try again, so your player has been given a new account and a different body to possess. Some of the panic fades, and I suck in a ragged breath to calm my racing heart. Is that what you were talking about with the female mage when I was eavesdropping on you in your house that day? Yes, that was one of the high-rank officials in the science department. She's in charge of this project. I've been trying to talk her out of it, but why didn't you tell me earlier? You've known about this for weeks. I had to confirm my suspicions, and I wanted to try and stop the project first. And I was going to tell you before we got ambushed by the royal soldiers. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I'm really trying to make amends, but at least I've managed to convince them to take your name off the list so that you won't ever be possessed again. What should I say? How can I respond to this terrible revelation? What about the rest of the guild? My friends, stay silent. I'm not going to thank you for that. What about... It's funny because on the guide it says, what's about the rest of my guild, my friends? And it's just like, no. That's wrong. You didn't need to put the what's in there. You just need to put what. I love it when guides mess up their spellings. It's wonderful. But yes, this isn't the correct answer, and I will choose it. Kylan flinches, and his voice is as small as a mouse's when he replies. I'm going to save this right here because I need to make sure I do that because you know, for this kind of game, I need to create separate save files to choose different answers for. So I'm just gonna save it right here. Yes, and then for everything else, I'll make other save files, because obviously, yeah. I need to, like, go through this, all my saves, just to make sure, like, you know, keep everything organized and all that. Kylan flinches, and his voice is as small as a mouse's when he replies. I was working on it. I really was. I'm sorry. Like I said, I figured you wouldn't want to help me anymore after this. That's why I wanted to tell you before you did anything rash. I'm sorry. I truly am, especially for keeping the truth from you for so long. Don't worry about me. Just save yourself when the king asks you what you know. But don't tell him about what I just told you. Anything except that. I don't bother to reply. The uncomfortable silence drags on between us as I keep going over what Kylan said in my mind. Lyle, Evra, Ridgely, all my friends in the guild are in danger. I have to do something. I have to. My mind is a mess and I can barely form a coherent thought, let alone a plan. Eventually, my eyelids begin to grow heavy and I let sleep pull me under, grateful for the reprieve that it offers. And actually, you know what? Actually, I'm gonna make another save file right here because that seems like a good idea. Just in case, you know, just in case. I got mac and cheese. I got mac and cheese. Sorry about that. I wonder if you guys actually heard any of that. I'm not sure. I wonder. Yep, I just got mac and cheese. Ooh, it's still warm. Oh. Sorry. I mean, when someone gives you free mac and cheese, and it's still warm, what are you gonna do? Just let it sit there and get cold? Nah, fam. You gotta eat that shit when it's warm. Anyways, let's continue. Cheesy. I'm awoken by a sudden splash of cold water, the iciness seeping through my clothes down to my bones. Spluttering and gasping, I jerk upwards into a sitting position. My hand instinctively reaches for the sword at my side before I remember that they've taken it, and I clench my hand to a fist before raising my head, already knowing who is standing before me.
Good. You're awake. Get up.
His Majesty ordered you to get up. Get up! Bow before King Leo! Gritting my teeth, I climbed to my feet, managing a stiff curtsy. Your Majesty?
Yes, that's better. Earlier, is it? I think you know why I have summoned you here. Summoned you.
I stay silent and keep my head bowed, not daring to look him in the eyes.
Your friend by the name Lyle, I believe, has already told me what you've said to them before. All I need for you is to repeat everything you know about Kylan Remington to me right now, and all your missteps will be forgiven.
That was a yawn that turned into a scream. You're welcome for that. The king pauses, his lips curling into a smile that would seem almost gentle and fatherly if I didn't know that he wouldn't hesitate to throw me on the execution block if I say no to him right now.
You have been one of the most valuable warriors since the day you joined our ranks. I still remember the Medal of Bravery awarded.
What? What?
Personally, you're a role model for aspiring warriors. You've done such a marvelous job of protecting our country. Certainly you will continue to do so for AIRIS. I promise you will be heavily rewarded for your service if you choose to give me the intel I desire.
How about no? How about no? How about no? He tilts his head, waiting for me to speak, but my mind is still spinning with indecision. I had originally decided that I was going to lie and to try and save Kylan from his fate so that he can finish what he's set out to do, but after his latest revelation, I don't know anymore. Maybe I should tell the king. Maybe he does need to know to protect the guild and our people. Well, for this ending, hell nah! Good thing I created the save file. Should I tell the king the truth, even though it will likely be the final nail in the coffin for Kylan? Or should I lie for him at the cost of my own life? What should I do? You're gonna stay silent, because that's what the fuck you're gonna do. It's better if I stay silent. if I stay quiet. If I speak, I might accidentally give away something I don't mean to. The king is clever, much too clever for the likes of me. In the battle of wits, I'd lose. So I keep my mouth shut and my head bowed, my gaze fixed on the shiny marble floor.
You still refuse to speak, warrior?
Silence is his only reply. Wonderful. Eventually he gives up, and from the sound of heavy footsteps leading towards me, I can imagine he signals his soldiers to take me back to the cell.
I'm very disappointed in you, Aria. Maybe a few nights in the dungeons will change your mind.
As expected, a moment later, 2 pairs of hands land roughly on my shoulders. I don't struggle nor react, letting them drag me away as though I were nothing but a limp doll. I'm not going to change my mind or regret my decision. I hope. Psst. Psst. The persistent, low hissing noise rouses me out of my sleep, and I stir, rubbing my eyes before opening them in confusion. What? Is it gonna be Teddy or something? Or Lyle? Or Kylan? Or Evra? Ah, it's gonna be a Lyle! A wild Lyle has appeared! Lyle? What are you doing here? Shh, not so loud. Do you want all the guards to come rushing? Come running? Close enough. Pointing their staff at the locks on the cell doors, they mutter something under their breath, and the door swings open. Come on, let's go! Slow from both drowsiness and confusion, I kick Kylan gently in the side, who jerks upwards with a loud snort of surprise. What? What's happening? Are they executing me already? Are they gonna kill me yet? Come on! Come on, I don't have all day! Wake up, you fool! Lyle's breaking us out. Oh, why? I open my mouth to snap at him for asking silly questions, but then I turn to Lyle with raised eyebrows. He has a point. Why are you helping us? Especially since I know you were the one who reported everything I told you about Kylan to the king in the first place. Yes, I did. But I didn't know the king would arrest you as well. I may want to see Kylan punished, but not you. Never you. We need to go. Now. Evra, Ridgely, and a few others are creating a diversion in the castle, but it won't last long. We need to get out of here before the guards come back. With one last glance of hesitation, I stumble through the cell doors into the open, noting with interest the 3 guards crumpled in a heap at the side, unconscious but breathing. Kylan follows me, and Lyle points at the corner of the cell with his staff, creating 2 human-shaped lumps of rock before swinging the door shut again. That should buy us a little time. Come on, this way. Lyle breaks into a run, and I follow after them, taking the stairs 2 steps at a time in my eagerness to get out of this dreary dungeon. I'm not dying at all. I'm fine. So what's your plan? Where do we go after this? After we make it out of the palace, we're going straight to the town border. Teddy's waiting there in the forest for you. The 2 of you need to go as far away as possible. I prepared some supplies for you. Teddy should have them with her. It should be enough to last you for a while. And if you need more, or if you need any help, there are some potions and magical items in the supplies that should let you get in contact with me safely. You're not coming? There's a beat of silence, and Lyle replies in sadness. No, I can't. I have to stay here and try to persuade the king not to track the 2 of you down. Struck with the sudden understanding that this may be the last time I'll be able to meet my best friend, my throat closes up and I find myself unable to speak. Trying to distract myself from our impending farewell, I cast a quick glance backwards and notice Kylan falling further and further behind, unable to keep up with our speed. Should I slow down my pace for him or focus on getting out of here as quickly as possible? Slow down and wait for Kylan, keep the same pace. I'm supposed to keep the same pace. Aw, that makes me sad. That makes me sad, but okay. I don't like this ending. This makes me sad. No, there's no time. We have to leave the palace before we get caught. We can't afford to slow down right now. Kylan will just have to push himself as much as possible to keep up with us. Don't fall behind, Kylan. We're not doubling back for you if you do. There's no answer from Kylan, just the sound of his panting and heavy footsteps. Our mad escape goes smoother than I expected, and we make it to the forest without any problems. Soon I can see a small figure hiding behind the trees that dashes out at the sight of us, throwing itself into my arms.
Alia, you're alright. You made it here safe. I was so worried, you idiot. Why do you always have to get yourself into trouble? Mother of souls, what have you done this time?
Collapsing to the ground to catch my breath, I tightened my arms around the bear, burying my face in her fur. This familiar feeling of Teddy in my arms brings tears to my eyes. I had thought I would never see her again. Brushing away the tears, I raised my head to look at Lyle, who's busying themselves, recounting the supplies they have prepared in the corner. Lyle, thank you. I'm sorry for dragging you into this mess. Will you be alright after breaking us out of prison? It's fine. Nobody saw me. My magic is too quick for them. I'm sorry I can't go further than this with you. I have to go back to make sure Ever and the rest are alright. At the reminder that my friends in the guild are all brisking themselves to let me escape, I feel myself getting choked up again. Tell them I said thank you as well. Of course. I'm sorry I couldn't get your sword back for you. I know how much it means to you because it looked like the one you had back when. It's fine. I was going to replace it with an upgrade at some point anyway. It's getting too old and battered. Lyle rocks on the balls of their feet, hesitating before reaching out and pulling me into a hug. Just like that, all the animosity and tenseness between us these couple months melt away, and I return their hug fiercely, mumbling into their shoulder. I'm so sorry. I don't know how everything turned out like this. It's not your fault. You can't help who you fall in love with. I'm not in love. Whatever. I don't want to argue with you on that right now. I'm sorry, Lyle. Please stay safe. Thank you for everything. Lyle moves to pull away, and with great reluctance, I release them. They lean in to give me a small kiss on the forehead and a pat on the head. Thank you, Lyle, for giving me a kiss on the forehead and a pat on the head. That's so sweet of you. What a tender moment. Take care of yourself. I'll try to fix things here. I'll let you know when you can return. I will. I love you, Lyle. Not who I was expecting to say I love you to, but you know what? Whatever. I guess it's platonic, so whatever. I love you too. Now go before they find you. Out of the corner of my eye, I notice that both Kylan and Teddy have been gathering the supplies, giving Lyle and I a moment alone. Teddy gives me a small nod to let me know that they're ready to go. Right. This isn't goodbye. I'll see you again soon, I promise. I know. Drinking in Lyle's face one more time, I give Lyle's hand a squeeze and turn around, walking away with Teddy and Kylan. None of us speak as we navigate through the forest. I catch a glimpse of Kylan opening his mouth several times as though he wants to speak, but in the end he never does. Should I wait for him to take the initiative, or do I just speak first? Wait for Kylan to speak first? Break the silence? I'm supposed to wait for Kylan to speak up first. Yep. No, if he wants to talk to me, he can find the courage to speak first. The silence drags on for almost unbearably long before Kylan finally blurts out what he's been meaning to say. Why didn't you tell the king everything I told you? Why did you lie for my sake? Because you would have gotten executed immediately, and you're more useful to AIRIS alive than dead. I know the king wouldn't listen to me, so I have no choice but to keep your secret. Is that the only reason why? I shoot him a sharp gaze that goes unnoticed in the darkness. Of course. What other reason could there be? I ignore the falseness in my voice and the way Kylan's shoulders seem to slump at my response. Right, of course. Thank you. I appreciate it. I don't deserve it, but thank you nonetheless. I know it means nothing, but I really never wanted to hurt anyone. I'm horrified at myself for everything I've done out of my selfishness. One little thing led to another, and I found myself rolling down the slippery slope of no return. I'll do my best to fix the messes I created. Keeping my gaze firmly ahead and my voice as level as I can manage, I reply in an offhanded tone. You don't need to explain to me. All you have to do right now is help look for a place to stay for now. Then get back to work on making a cure and stopping your people from trying to essentially murder everyone in the guild. Right, I understand. Our conversation comes to an end, and we continue walking in silence once again. I find myself... Wait a minute. What the fuck? I'm sorry, I died. What? For a moment there, I'm just like, wait a minute, is the volume too high? But no, it's not. It's perfect right now. Like, I'm sorry, that was stupid of me. Why did I just do that? Wow. Also, mac and cheese. Jeez, okay. It's still warm! Sort of. Not really. I mean, it's getting there. It's getting cold. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Wow. Fuck. Our conversation comes to an end and we continue walking in silence once again. I find myself lost in my thoughts, my mind going over everything that has happened in the last couple of weeks. How did everything end up like this? How did I end up here? Why did I make so many bad decisions one after another? No, I made the right choice in not turning Kylan in. He needs to fix the mistakes he made. Needs his chance to redeem himself. My thoughts are interrupted by Teddy's sudden shout coupled with her pointing in the distance.
There! There's the abandoned hut that Lyle mentioned. They said we can stay there for a while, probably. Not many people know of it, and they've also casted some spells over it to shield it from the naked eye unless you deliberately look for its existence.
Thank the mother. Someone needs to kiss Lyle for me to thank them. Reinvigorated by the destination right ahead, I quicken my footsteps until I'm almost running towards the house. I'm taking the bigger bedroom. If there's only one room, you can sleep on the floor of the kitchen. Without a second glance backward, I make a mad dash for the house, leaving Kylan behind. You can sleep in the kitchen. I don't care.
Morning, sleepyhead.
Yawning, I stretch my arms above my head and give Teddy a barely intelligible greeting. She rolls her eyes at me.
It's already noon. You've slept in a ridiculous amount these days. How are you still tired?
Plopping down on the couch, I pour myself a quick cup of tea and take a sip. It's not like I have anything else to do other than sleep. I can't go anywhere in fear of being recognized. I can't fight. I can't do anything. The unfamiliar lack of the weight of my sword at my side feels more acute than ever, and I tighten my hand around the cup, pretending to be unaffected.
Weren't you going to help Kylan with something before all this happened? Why not help him now? He certainly seems busy.
Reluctantly, I glance at the man in question. As expected, he's huddled in the corner of the room that he seems to have claimed ever since we settled in this house, with scrolls, bits of metal, and small and odd gadgets scattered all around him. He doesn't even seem to notice us talking about him, too absorbed in his work. I can't help him with what he's doing right now. He's trying to fix the few devices he had on him while he was arrested with what limited material he has. I know nothing about inventing. Teddy leaps onto the couch, spreading out and basically taking up all the space. I give her a soft nudge, but she just gives me a cheeky grin.
Are you still avoiding him?
I'm not avoiding him. Kind of hard to when we live in the same tiny house.
You know he has been working non-stop for the last few days since we've been here, right? He barely sleeps or eats. Are you not worried about him at all?
I don't care what he does. It's his life. Still, I can't help but glance at him again. This time, the dark circles around his eyes and his haggard appearance catch my attention, and I frown. He looks like he's about to pass out anytime soon.
Go tell him to sleep. I tried to drag him to his bed by his leg, but he just asked me if I wanted belly rubs. Does he think I'm a dog?
Belly rubs.
You want some belly rubs?
Ignoring Teddy's knowing look, I get to my feet and casually stroll over to Kylan. He doesn't even lift his head when my footsteps stop in front of him, probably not even aware of my presence. Kylan, you need to rest. He almost jumps a foot in the air, the scroll in his hand flying through the air, which I catch deftly. Lord, you scared me. Now that he's finally looking at me fully, I'm struck by how terrible he looks. Even more than I expected. Mother of souls, you really need to get some rest. I can't. I don't have time. I don't know when they'll find us, but I need to figure out a cure to the plague before they do, and I can't make any progress without my gadgets. Kylan gives a frustrated sigh, running his hand through his hair in agitation. I wish I had my tools for my lab, but I'm sure they've raided everything by now. Getting sick or worrying yourself to death won't help. Go get some rest, Kylan. You desperately need it. Trying to tell me I'm no longer handsome, huh? Oh! Kylan, no! Whoa! You fucking escalated that shit, motherfucker. My god. Trying to tell me I'm no longer handsome, huh? When have I ever said you're handsome? Kylan barks at a small laugh, but even his amused grin screams of exhaustion. Unwillingly, I let myself soften. He really is trying hard to fix things. Is there anything you need? Materials-wise. Lyle left a few potions that will temporarily disguise my appearance, so I can go to town to pick up some stuff for you. You would do that for me? Suddenly feeling self-conscious, I look away, picking up a stray strand hanging from my sleeve. It's not really for you. I need to go pick up some more food, leave Lyle a message to let them know we're doing fine, and I want to check out how things are back in town anyway. In that case, if you can bring me some of these materials and herbs, it'd be great. Thank you so much. Kylan beams at me before bending his head over an empty piece of scroll, scribbling on it furiously. After a moment, he hands it to me, which I accept and hide away in my pocket. Alright, I'll be back soon. Oh, the music. Oh, I thought the music was gonna. It's like, oh no! Some shit's gonna go down! I don't like it. Get some rest when you can. Yeah. Kylan's murmur of agreement is clearly insincere, and I sigh, knowing I'll find him still awake and frantically working when I return home. Alright, your choice. Grabbing the potion I needed from the supplies Lyle prepared for us, I head towards the door in long strides, eager to get out of this house for the first time in days. Teddy, I'm heading out for a bit. Be careful, alright?
Am I not going with you?
Teddy, do you think having a bear cub trotting by my side wouldn't give my disguise away? Teddy gives a small face before lying on the couch again.
Fine, I'll just sleep until you get home. Don't do anything stupid, Alia.
When do I ever? I turn to bid Kylan farewell as well, but I can't resist pausing for a moment to watch him work. It reminds me of another time. A better time. When I would sit and watch him work in admiration, fascinated by the crease between his brows and the movements of his nimble fingers. Yeah, boy, what them fingers do? No, things aren't the same anymore. It's different now. So with just a little bit of reluctance, I managed to drag myself away and out of the house. The town is just as I had remembered. Nothing has changed except for the myriad of wanted posters pasted on the wall of every building. It's more disconcerting than I had expected to see my own face and Kylan's face on the posters with the word wanted in giant red letters and a promise of heavy reward if captured alive. This town has been my home for the past 6 years, but now I feel as though I'm walking into a lion's den, my grip on my basket tightening in fear. I have to force myself to act casual so as not to draw attention to myself. They're not going to recognize you, Aelia. You're disguised by magic right now. Just don't do anything stupid. Lowering my head so I don't have to see 1,000 copies of Kylan's face staring back at me, I hurried down the street towards the potion stop. Shop! 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 The sooner I finish what I set out to do, the better. Even as I'm cautioning myself from acting strange, when I passed by the guild hall, I can't help but let my footsteps slow, gazing longingly at the building that my life has revolved around for so long. I can't believe. The doors swing open, and a group of drunken vassals stumble out, burst into boisterous laughter. I wouldn't have missed the lone person in the back if it weren't for their gigantic sea blue staff standing out of the crowd. Lyle. My heart jumping in my chest, I open my mouth to call to them before catching myself at the last second. Somehow, even without a word leaving my mouth, Lyle's gaze immediately snaps to mine, and even though I'm disguised by their magic, I notice the gleam of recognition in their eyes and the relief that spreads across their face. I break out into a happy smile, which Lyle returns before mouthing one word at me. Go! Looking around to make sure nobody else has noticed our exchange, I give Lyle one more glance before scurrying away, promising myself that the next time we meet, it will be fearlessly in broad daylight without the use of magic. Somehow. I'm back! Everything alright? Did anything happen while I was out? Teddy jerks awake with a startled yelp, peeking over the couch at me with sleepy eyes.
Oh, you're back already. Did everything go well?
Her sentence... Fuck! I'm sorry! Her sentence is punctuated by her yawns, and my amusement lifts my mood slightly, though I still can't get the image of the wanted posters out of my head. Yeah, everything went perfectly. If Teddy notices how the smile doesn't touch my eyes, she doesn't comment on it, merely lying back down to go back to sleep. I unpack the supplies I've bought from the basket, still deep in thought. Maybe if Kylan comes up with a cure and prevents the Earthlings' plan to take over, or if he can even offer some useful information about the technology in the other realm, perhaps with the help of Lyle and my friends in the guild we can persuade the king to forgive Kylan's crimes. Then I can finally stop being an outlaw, and perhaps the king will even reward me for taking a brave stand to do what's right for the country. In my preoccupied state, I accidentally knock over the teapot while trying to spread the newly bought items on the table. Cursing, I leap up and rush towards the kitchen to grab some cloths to clean up. Let me help. Before I can protest, Kylan takes one of the cloths from my hand and begin to help me wipe the table clean. Startled, I stare at him for a moment before joining him in cleaning up the mess. Thanks. Kylan returns the cloth to me with a charming smile, and I hurriedly avoid his eyes, feeling inexplicably weird. Awkward! You're welcome. I have the materials you asked for. 1 second, I'll put them all in the basket for you. Wait, I have something I need to talk to you about. Still avoiding his eyes, I begin to fidget with my hands. Yes, what is it? My people contacted me while you were out just now. The woman I was talking to last time, one of my bosses in charge of this project, logged in and used the vassal's magic ability to cast a long-distance communication spell as usual. She's already seen the posters, so I didn't really need to explain. Anyways, they agreed to accelerate their plans and bring me home as soon as possible. I'll be the first tester for the new technology to transport a consciousness through realms. It takes a moment for Kylan's words to sink in, and when they do, the cloths I've been holding in my hand slip through my slackened grip, falling to the ground with a muted thud. Neither of us moved to pick it up, still staring at each other in silence. Inexplicably, my hands begin to tremble and I have to hide them behind my back. What about the cure, and the plan to take over the guild? I'll still be working on it. Look, I'll be able to make progress much faster with the technology I have back at home. Plus, I can actually be involved in the project and try to prevent it from happening. I'll still I'll be around still, just that I have to borrow a body of a guild member to do so. Right. Still shell-shocked, I don't know how else to react. A glint crawls into Kylan's eyes, and he lowers his voice, ducking his head. I mean, if you don't want me to leave, I can... No. No, I'm glad you can return home. You finally get your wish to go back to Earth. Congratulations. It will be a beneficial arrangement for both of us, as long as you keep your promises about protecting AIRIS and continuing working on a cure after returning home. Kylan's mouth closes without another word, his eyes dimming. He swallows hard before replying. Right. Of course. In that case, I'll start making preparations to leave, then. I'll be in the forest collecting some samples from the creatures if you need me. I force myself not to look at him as he leaves, keeping my eyes closed until I hear the door swing shut behind him.
You're an idiot, Alia.
Surprised, I whip my head towards Teddy, who is lying on the couch, staring at me with intelligent eyes. What? What did I do?
You clearly don't want him to leave. He practically offered to stay for you. Why didn't you just accept his proposition?
I don't know what you're talking about. I busy myself with what I was doing earlier and putting the materials Kylan asked for into the basket.
You do. I don't understand. Why do you pretend to not care about him when you actually do?
Freezing mid-motion, I set the bottle down on the table heavily, clenching my hands into fists in frustration. What am I supposed to do, Teddy? He doesn't belong here. He has a family back at home waiting for him. More importantly, he's done so much wrong in our world. He's lied to me so many times. How can I let myself trust him again?
Are you trying to tell me that you actually don't trust him right now? Not even a little bit? And you don't care at all if he leaves and you never see him again?
I hesitate, but then I nod.
You really mean that?
Do I really mean what I said? Teddy clearly doesn't believe I do, but yes, maybe not, I don't know. I'm supposed to say yes, and that makes me sad, right? Wait. It's confusing because there's two options right next to each other on the guide that says yes and I don't know. Did I say yes before? I don't think so. Right? I mean, if I got it wrong, fuck, I'll just go back. But hopefully this is the correct answer, because I'm afraid that's... I do. I mean it. I can't forget or forgive what he has done.
So you don't feel anything for him at all?
I give my head a decisive shake, but Teddy just makes a derisive snort.
You're really trying to tell me that you willingly lied to the king and gave up everything, becoming an outlaw just because you felt it was the right thing to do and not because you have feelings for him and don't want to see him executed.
Biting my lip, I busy myself again with my task of still avoiding Teddy's eyes. What is this? An interrogation? I already said I don't like him that way at all. I can feel Teddy staring at me for a heartbeat longer before giving me a haughty sniff and turning away.
Whatever you say. As long as you can convince yourself that's the case, then fine. I'm going back to sleep. Try not to wake me until dinner.
Teddy's wrong. There's nothing I need to convince myself of, because it's the truth. Isn't it? I don't know. You tell me. Good morning, Alia. I guess I'm just gonna finish this. Get to the ending here, because it's like, why not? I'm already this deep, might as well finish it, and then next episodes I could just do the other endings and be like, bitch, yeah! Sorry. Good morning, Alia. Oh yeah, I should probably eat a little bit. I'm just gonna take a little macaron break. Mac and cheese break. Nom nom nom. It's still a little bit warm. It's freaking me out. It's not the best, but it's, mac and cheese. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna keep eating and saying I'm sorry. Because I'm sorry. Okay. Maybe one more bite. Okay, one more. Alright. Okay, almost. Okay, that was completely necessary. Startled, my gaze flies to his. He hasn't spoken a word to me since he informed me yesterday about his impending return to the realm he comes from, so I can't help but wonder why he's suddenly talking to me first thing in the morning. Good morning. Kylan's lips part as though he has something to say, but then he hesitates. I wait a beat longer, but he continues to stay silent. Impatiently, I move to brush by him, but I freeze when his hand lands gently on my arm. Wait. Are you busy today? I raise an eyebrow at him and give our surroundings a pointed glance. Oh, yeah, I need to clean the floor for the 5th time this week and make my bed for the 4th time this day. That's my schedule for the day, just like it has been for the past week. Kylan doesn't react to my sarcasm and gives a distracted nod. Right, okay, in that case, would you like to help me today? With what? I don't know how to help you fix your equipment. No, I'm not going to bother to fix them anymore. I won't need them soon enough anyway. I go still at the reminder of Kylan's departure, but he doesn't seem to notice my reaction. Instead, I'm going to collect some samples from different creatures today. I was wondering if you would like to come along and help me. I don't have my sword anymore. Kylan's lips curve upwards into a hesitant smile, and he slips his hand inside a pocket of his jacket before handing me a small dagger, which I take in surprise. You can use my dagger for now if you want. How did you manage to keep your weapon? Didn't the guards disarm you before throwing us into the prison cell? Kylan shrugs, patting his jacket with a small, proud smile. Hidden pockets. One of Earth's creations. Impossible to take items inside them unless you know of the pocket's existence beforehand. Now that you have a weapon to arm yourself with, what do you say? How do you feel about coming along with me? Going with him means I'm going to be alone with him. I don't really want to talk to him, nor do I know what to say, but I don't know? Fine. I'm supposed to say I don't know for this ending. I know that I should say yes, if for nothing but to protect him while he works. After all, it's not safe to wander into the deep forests alone. For all his quick wit and impressive brains, he wouldn't be able to defend himself if anything does happen. Still, I don't know if I want to be alone with him right now. Maybe not. I'd only get in your way if I went with you anyway. I pretend not to see the smile falling from Kylan's face, the crushing disappointment that's written all over his features. Oh. Yes, I understand. Of course. I'll just go by myself.
Elia, go with him.
What? I whip my head around to look at Teddy, who has snuck up on us during our conversation at some point and is now glaring at me with her arms crossed.
Don't be so stupid. You've been avoiding him for a week. Don't you think it's time for the two of you to talk?
There's nothing for us to talk about.
That's not true, and you know that. The man is leaving soon. Give him one chance to talk to you properly.
My resolve is wavering, but I turn my face away, refusing to let Teddy see and see and shaking my head in stubbornness. No.
If you don't go, I'm going to steal your food every day for the rest of your life and make a mess on your bed whenever you leave. I'll jump on top of you every morning at 4 sharp and draw on your face with paint every time you go to sleep. Let's see you get a good night's rest.
Half amused by Teddy's threats, I let out an outraged gasp and sent Teddy my most intimidating glare, but she's completely unfazed. You wouldn't dare.
Try me.
Teddy and I continue staring into each other's eyes for a long moment, neither of us blinking. After a while, my eyes begin to water, and with an irritated huff, I look away from Teddy's triumphant smirk. Fine. I'll go with you, Kylan. Kylan, who has only been looking between Teddy and I this entire time, widens his eyes in surprise, but the expression immediately melts away into one of delight. Delight. Really? I don't reply, but Kylan takes my silence as acquiescence. Acquiescence? Great, let's leave now. Right now? Kylan's smile merely grows at my surprise, and he gives an eager nod. The earlier the better. We don't have much time after all. Suppressing a sigh, I give a small jerk of my head in agreement against my better judgment and head towards the door, pretending not to notice the way Teddy is still smirking and Kylan's whisper of gratitude towards her. Thank you for agreeing to come with me, Aelia. Turning his dagger over repeatedly in my hand, a non-committal hum is my only response, but Kylan doesn't seem deterred. I feel like we haven't had a chance to really... Knowing what he wants to say, I cut him off abruptly. I don't want to go there with him. I only agreed to escort you on this quest. That doesn't mean I want to talk to you. Just lead the way and I'll be close behind you. There's no talking necessary. Cullen falls silent. The hurt crossing his face causes a twinge of guilt in my chest, which I quickly push away. To his credit, Cullen does respect my request and merely continues to walk on quietly, no longer trying to strike up the conversation with me. Our journey continues in silence, the tension growing between us. At certain moments, I feel almost compelled to speak, but I always change my mind at the last second. No, there's nothing I want to say to him. Caught up in my thoughts, I don't even realize where we've ended up until Kylan's footsteps suddenly slow to a halt, making me lift my head with a scowl. Oh, we're back here. I try not to let my reaction show on my face when recognition dawns on me. This is the field where Kylan and I once stopped at that time on our way to retrieve the herb. The time we sat and talked and he picked a flower for... Forcing the memory out of my mind, I turned to Kylan with a casual smile, wincing internally at the slight tremble in my voice. Why are we stopping? You don't remember? Remember what? My eyes narrow in realization. He led me here on purpose. My anger flares up, and my hands fly to my hips. I strike closer to him, pointing one finger at his chest, and he takes a step back. Did you ever even intend to actually retrieve samples from creatures, or was it all a ploy to draw me here? Whatever for? I didn't lie. I really do intend to collect samples. I just made a slight detour. Why? I just wanted to talk to you properly, Aelia. I thought you were on the verge of forgiving me, but then I told you about my brother's letter in the cell that night, and since then you've been as distant as ever. Can we please talk about what happened? There's nothing for us to talk about, and for the record, I was not on the verge of forgiving you. What you've done cannot be forgiven. Uncertainty enters Kylan's eyes, and his lower lip disappears in between his teeth. Yes, you're right. I know that. I'm sorry. I know it means nothing, but I'm sorry. I truly am. Saying sorry doesn't bring back the countless lives lost to the attacks of the creatures. It doesn't bring back Lyle's parents or the days of freedom your people have stripped from me, or the potential tragedy that's about to befall my friends in the guild. The torrent rushes from my mouth in anger, and without pausing to look at his reaction, I turn away, walking a few steps away from him to calm myself. I know I can't expect you to forgive me. You shouldn't. I'm a selfish, terrible person, I know that. but I'm trying to be better. I really am. For you. Kylan's last two words hang in the air between us, and I go still in surprise. What is he trying to say? He loves you! Bitch! I turn back around to look at him, and when I do, I'm taken aback by the blue flower in his hand that he has plucked from the ground when my back was turned. Oh! Boy! Boy! Oh, boy! Oh! Oh boy! Oh boy! Oh boy! Kylan, you are one mad lad. You know how mad I am at you, but you fucking pick a blue flower and put it in my hair anyways, man. You are one mad fucking lad. I'm proud. Taking advantage of my shock, Kylan inches closer and reaches out, placing the flower in my hair. I'm still too stunned by his unexpected reaction. I don't push him away. Boy! Boy, look at him! Look at that man! Mad lad! Mad lad! Mad lad! Mad lad! Mad lad! Mad lad! Woo! Boy! This is the quality content I produce. I don't even know if I'm being sarcastic or not anymore. Carefully, Kylan tucks the stem of the flower into my hair and lets his arm fall away. The flower, without his hand holding it up, slides down my hair, resting against my ear. I know I've done terrible things, but I'm trying to change. I have changed since I met you. Meeting you, seeing how devoted you are to your cause, how kind and wonderful you are to everyone, being with you, it made me realize I want to change. I want to be the kind of man who deserves your love. Boy! Boy! Woo! Boy! Oh boy! My eyes widen further at Kylan's implication, and a slow blush rises to my cheeks. His gentle smile remains, his eyes soft and sorrowful. I know I still have a long way to go. First, I need to fix the messes I've created. I don't expect you to forgive me or return my feelings. I wouldn't dare ask that of you. Instead, I have but one request that you can laugh at and walk away immediately if you want. I wouldn't blame you. I'm going to be leaving soon, and I don't know when I'll be able to see you again. So for one day, just for the rest of today, would you... Kylan's voice lowers, his eyes darting away as a shy blush spreads across his face. Would you just be with me the way we were before everything happened, before my secrets and my horrible deeds tore us apart? Just for one day. I'll be satisfied if I have just this one day. I can't. As much as I want to let myself fall into his embrace and agree to his request, I can't. Because the truth is, things have changed, and it can never go back to the way they were before. Pretending they would only make it all hurt more when he leaves. So with a broken sob, I tear myself away from him. I try not to pay attention to the way Kylan's face falls and turn my back on him. I can't. I'm sorry. I just can't. I understand. I'm sorry. I should never have even asked. And like the coward I am, instead of facing him and giving him a proper explanation, I only take off running once again, ignoring Kylan crying out my name from behind me. Damn. That makes me sad. Damn it! Ah! I promise there's gonna be a happy ending next episode. I swear to God. Swear to God. There's gotta be a happy ending.
You're still hiding in here, Alia?
I don't know what you're talking about. I continue stirring the tea, lifting the cup to my mouth for a quick sip.
I'm pretty sure that's your 5th cup of tea. Just admit it. You're scared of going out to say goodbye to him.
Absolutely not. I don't care if he leaves. At Teddy's dubious look, I nod in insistence. Fuck. Really?
Uh-huh. Yes, very convincing.
Teddy's expression softens and she gives me a gentle nudge.
Kylan's looking for you.
Is he? Teddy frowns at my unconcerned tone.
Aelia, it's almost noon. He has to leave soon. He wants to talk to you before he heads out.
I go still, my gaze darting around the room in search of a clock. It's noon already? How did that happen? Noticing my reaction, Teddy gives a sad smile and gently pushes me towards the door.
Go, talk to him. It may be your last chance.
I could resist, but I don't. Still with a half-empty cup of tea in my hand, I let Teddy push me into the hallway where Kylan is waiting. Hey. Swallowing hard, I lift my hand into a small wave, unable to find my voice. So, I'm going to go soon. Right. I've already packed everything of mine up here. I can't bring them back with me, so you can just throw them away or do whatever you want with them. It doesn't matter. It is then that I finally notice how clean the house suddenly looks, the corners void of his usual belongings and equipment. Instead of feeling bigger and spacier without the clutter, the house just suddenly feels emptier and smaller. With a pause, I nod. Thanks. Right. God. I just wanted to say a goodbye and give you something before I go. Kylan's face remains a blank mask, even as he bends to search through the gigantic bag beside him. Next thing I know, Kylan is holding out a familiar sword. No, not my sword, but the one I had admired and attempted to buy at the store that day before everything changed. For you. Drawn to the beautiful sword, my hands reach out on their own accord, and Kylan places the sword in my hands with a small smile. But how? I bought it a while ago when I knew you wanted it. It was hidden in my house all along because I never had a chance to give it to you. I went to the town disguised to find Lal a few days ago. I asked them for this favor. As promised, Lal somehow managed to retrieve the sword for me. So yeah, it's yours now. Almost reverent, I rubbed my thumb over the glistening handle, its weight in my hand immediately making me feel safer. Still with my eyes glued to the sword, I can only bring myself to say a single word. Why? One of Kylan's shoulders lifted in a small shrug, a corner of his lips quirking up into a sad smile. I don't know. I made you lose your sword. It's only right that I replace it. And for you to have something to remember me by. A lump rises to my throat, and I have to shut my eyes as tears begin to sting. My hand tightens around the sword, the edges of the handle digging into my hands, but I'm oblivious to the pain. For one foolish moment, I can only wish that things were different. But then the moment passes, and I take a deep breath to calm myself, blinking away the tears. Will you promise to free AIRIS from Earth? I will, I promise. Will you cut the connection between our worlds permanently so that these kinds of things can never happen again? Kylan stiffens visibly, starting to shake his head back and forth slowly, and I reach out to touch his arm. Please. Aelia, I don't even know if that's possible. I only discover pre-existing links between realms. I don't create them. And I don't know if I can destroy them. Destroy all access to our realm. I know you can find a way to. You're Kylan. It's my life's work. I spent all this time discovering different realms, and you don't understand how important this discovery is to them, to us. I'm already risking everything I have to try and stop the project. I can't. Even if I'm willing to, I doubt I have the power to, and I'd probably get executed for treason by my people. I'm sorry, Aelia. I would do anything you ask, but this is the one thing I cannot promise you. Having expected his refusal, I only feel a twinge of disappointment. Of course he wouldn't agree. Why would he risk so much for a land that isn't his own? People who aren't his own. I understand. I can feel Kylan gazing in anxiety at me, worried I would lash out at him in anger, perhaps. With some effort, I managed to give him a half smile. Thank you for the sword. You're welcome. I hope it'll aid you on your journey to become the best warrior in the guild. My throat tightening with emotion, I can only nod in return. Kylan's gaze lingers on my face, his hand twitching at his side as though he wanted to reach out to touch me before clenching it into a fist. Right. I'll see you around, hopefully. Be careful. Good luck. I hope the experiment goes well. Take care of yourself. With one last smile, Kylan turns and strides out of the house, leaving me to stare at the door where he disappeared, praying for a safe return home. Achievement unlocked! Worlds apart! Hey, this is the ending! Woo! There's a Kylan there. Alia. Oh, boy! Who that boy? Who that boy? Who that boy? It's a Kylan, but with black hair and a different outfit. You look really cute, man. Man, you look cute with every hair color. I lift my head at Kylan's voice, a small smile coming to my face. Hey. Next to me, Lyle gives a grunt as greeting. But that's still an improvement from their previous silences and scornful looks. Not busy with quests today? Shrugging, I take a sip from my drink before replying. No, not much quest these days now that most of the creatures are cured, thanks to you. I think they're considering dispersing the guild. Oh, I see. Kylan's quiet for a moment before he speaks again. What are you going to do if they do? I don't know. Probably join the royal army or something. Maybe, if they even accept me. Why wouldn't they? You're an amazing warrior. Do you need help? Perhaps I can... Cutting him off, I keep my gaze on the table, not daring to look him in the eyes because I know what I'll see. No, I'll be fine, thanks. You've done enough for me. I don't know how you got a pardon for me from the king, but that's more than enough for me. I want to advance my career on my own, not because my friend is threatening the king into it. Kylan winces, and he reaches out to touch my hand on the table gently. Okay, you're right. I'm sorry. I won't overstep my boundaries anymore. A distracted look enters Kylan's eyes, and I know this likely means that he's getting a telepathic message from one of his co-workers in his lab. Do you have to go? You should leave if work calls. Kylan refocuses his attention to me, and his lips twitch upwards into a sad smile. Yes, I have to go. I only really came on because I wanted to tell you about my meeting yesterday with the project leader. I think I might be able to come to a compromise with her. I need to discuss the plan with you, but I really have to run now. I'll be back later tonight if you want to sleep. I give him a brief nod of acknowledgement, and Kylan flashes me another smile before getting up from the table and moving away, presumably to find a quiet place where he can log out. As soon as Kylan is out of earshot, Lyle speaks. You think Kylan can really stop the Earthlings' invasion? I don't know. I guess we have to trust him. Why? Do you still not trust that he's on our side? I expected Lyle to scowl and go off into a tirade about how once a traitor, always a traitor, but I'm startled to see them shake their head. No, I believe he is. I saw the way he looks at you. He would do anything for you. He still loves you, you know. It's clear as day. I immediately avert my eyes, lifting my glass to my lips for a sip so I don't have to answer. Why don't you give him a chance? I thought you hate him. I don't like him, but I care about you, and I know you care more for him than you're letting on. Why do you keep him at arm's length despite everything he's doing for you? The rush of conflicting emotions almost overwhelmed me for a moment, and I have to take a deep breath to calm myself. Don't be silly, Lyle. He's an Earthling. He doesn't belong with me. He's not even physically an AIRIS anymore. It'll never work out. Lau doesn't respond for a long moment, seemingly thinking over what I just said. Yes, but... no. Lau falls silent at my interruption, and I suck in another quick breath to steady myself. There's no but to it. We are people of different worlds. That's all there is to it. Still avoiding Lau's eyes, I finished the drink and slammed the glass back on the table, scrambling to my feet. Come on, want to apply at the Royal Army together with me? We better go before the rest of the guild beats us to it. Thankfully, Lau doesn't call me out on my fake smile in the obvious way I was changing the subject, and they nod. Alright, let's go. And so, we leave the guild hall, possibly for the last time, the sword Kylan gave me weighing 1,000 tons at my side. Hey! We did it, guys! We did it! This was a really sad ending. I mean, it was great, but it's still sad. Like, damn. I mean, of course, this is only the first of 4 endings with Kylan. So the next ending should definitely be a happier one. But yeah, this was wonderful. I love it. It was very interesting, and I can't wait to finally, completely finish Kylan. But with that being said, folks, this is a long-ass episode, but it's over now, so yay! Well, not completely over. The game still has lots of things to explore. But with that being said, if you guys enjoyed this episode of AIRIS, leave a like down below, leave a comment down below, share it with your friends, subscribe if you haven't, ring that notification bell. Why did I pause? And remember, die safely. Bye-bye!